We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Landmines take a growing toll in Afghanistan's conflict. A risk of pollution from sunken Grande America is not ruled out. Thailand's junta chief demands action to cut smog. India's Congress manifesto promises cash, jobs, and clean air. Millions are without water in Venezuela. Libyan chaos leaves city residents struggling for water. France and Germany say joint UNSC presidency would focus on multilateralism. Plus, Tampa streetcar creates an interesting commute. Hello everyone, I am Sarah Nachman bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. According to the United Nations Mine Action Service, or UNMAS, the number of casualties from landmines and so-called explosive remnants of war have increased as a result of the intensifying fight between the Afghanistan government and the Taliban, especially since 2014. At a rehabilitation center in Afghanistan, Imran Gul clasped two parallel bars, cautiously easing his weight onto his new leg. The 25-year-old nomad had been driving a tractor on hilly farmland when a landmine exploded, making him the latest victim of the scourge that has worsened in recent years as fighting intensifies between the government and the Taliban. As he tried out his prosthetic limb, Gul said he did not hear the sound of the bomb. He said, quote, "I touched my leg and saw there was no leg, and there were pieces of shrapnel in my eyes. My hands were soaked in blood." The blast in the eastern province of Ghazni also took two of Gul's fingers. According to UNMAS, casualties from landmines and so-called explosive remnants of war have soared fivefold between 2012 and 2017, the last year full data was available. Casualties have increased as a result of the intensifying fight between the Afghan government and the Taliban, especially since 2014. Battlefields have been left strewn with landmines, unexploded mortars, rockets, and homemade bombs, many of them picked up by curious children. UNMAS program manager Kabul Patrick Frachet said they are struggling to handle significant increases in the number of minefields in Afghanistan. The Afghanistan government has signed an international anti-landmine treaty, but the Taliban and other militants are bound by no such rules. The UN hopes to raise attention to the issue of the annual International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action. Frachet said, quote, "In 2012, we were down to about 36 casualties, killed and wounded, per month in Afghanistan, which is still enormous. But those numbers have jumped. In 2017, there were more than 150 casualties a month." In addition to the new explosive detritus, Afghanistan is still grappling with the legacy of mines from the Afghan-Soviet War in the 1980s and the Civil War in the 1990s. Mohammad Jamshidi, UNMAS Deputy Program Manager, said a lack of funds means the country will probably miss the UN goal of being mine-free by 2023. He said a deadline seems to be difficult to achieve because all the new contamination and the lack of sufficient funding for the mine action. In an effort to prevent further tragedies, various organizations hold information sessions to warn civilians, including children. Hashmatullah Yagari, who works for the Danish Refugee Council, said many Afghans, particularly returning former refugees, have no idea what landmines and other explosives even look like. Yagari said people do not have any information about it. In a tent inside a refugee camp on the outskirts of Kabul, a family was recently shown the various types of explosive device they may encounter. Sakina Habibi, a mother of three who has just returned to Afghanistan after nearly 30 years in Pakistan and Iran, said they had no knowledge and awareness about the landmines. Many survivors of blast go to one of 7 orthopedic rehabilitation hospitals funded by the International Committee of the Red Cross, or the ICRC.
Now the deadline is March 2023, but the information that we have from the Directorate of Mine Action Coordination Center of the Government of Afghanistan, that deadline seems to be difficult to achieve because of all these new contamination and the lack of sufficient funding for the mine action.
French maritime authorities say they can't rule out the risk of an oil slick reaching the French coast after an Italian cargo ship sank 300 kilometers west of La Rochelle last month, but added that the amount of oil likely to reach the shoreline is limited. The 6-mile oil sheet was first spotted by a French naval aircraft on Wednesday afternoon after a fire aboard an Italian cargo ship that sank Tuesday 186 miles west of the town of La Rochelle. In addition to 2,200 tons of heavy fuel the Grande America had on board, it was also transporting 2,000 cars and 365 shipping containers, 45 of which held dangerous materials, including 100 tons of hydrochloric acid and 70 tons of sulfuric acid. Environment Minister François Durugi told BFM News Channel, "There is a risk, so we must do everything to reduce it and to reduce the impact of pollution of our coast." The 214-meter-long ship was sailing from Hamburg, Germany to Casablanca, Morocco when a fire broke out on Sunday. All 27 people on board were safely evacuated before it sank. Forecasts show fragments of the slick reaching parts of the Atlantic coast. French authorities aim to limit the impact of the spill by deploying 4 ships and preparing for a cleanup operation on land. According to Jean-Louis Luzier, head of the Regional Maritime Authority, the cause of the fire is unknown, but it is believed to have broken out on the car deck before spreading to a container.
En dépit de la mobilisation déterminée des équipes de lutte anti-pollution depuis maintenant 3 semaines, nous n'avons pas récupéré en mer la totalité du polluant émis par le Grande America. Un jour ou l'autre, des boulettes de fioul résiduelles issues du Grande America sont susceptibles d'arriver sur nos côtes. Ce risque résiduel est à mon sens limité et devrait être réduit à quelques boulettes probablement dispersées, mais je ne suis pas en mesure actuellement d'affirmer qu'il n'y aura pas de pollution sur nos côtes. C'est pour ça qu'il faut rester vigilant et que nous restons vigilants, de même que les préfectures terrestres restent vigilantes. À ce jour, nous avons pu récupérer en mer plusieurs dizaines de tonnes de fioul lourd sous forme solide et plusieurs centaines de tonnes d'eau polluée par des hydrocarbures. Ces polluants sont débarqués dans le port de La Rochelle pour être traités par une entreprise spécialisée sous contrat avec l'armateur.
Luzier added that the pollution risk posed by the chemicals would be very localized, but not everyone agrees. Burchett said the major threat to the ocean is acidification. The ocean absorbs our pollution and it is dying because of it. The French environmental campaign group Robin des Bois, Robin Hood, said it intended to file a criminal complaint over the environmental damage. The NGO spokesman Jackie Bonomains said 2,000 vehicles. It's a car crash at the bottom of the sea, representing hundreds of tons of toxic materials in an area very rich in fish, plankton, and marine animals, adding he also feared coastal pollution. Local authorities have opened an investigation, but Yannick Jadot, a French member of the European Parliament and environmental activist, believes that not enough has been done to prevent such disasters. Jadot said it's tragic, the laxity that often exists regarding maritime transport, adding that the oil slick would be a tragic for the French coast. The last spill off the French coast occurred in December 2011 when the cargo ship TK Bremen ran aground in northwest France, losing an estimated 70 tons of fuel. Thailand's junta chief gave the smog-hit northern city of Chiang Mai 7 days to crack down on spiraling pollution Tuesday, which has seen the tourist hotspot choke on Asia's most toxic air this week. The city has far eclipsed other notorious pollution hotspots since Sunday, with a level of dangerous microscopic particles known as PM2.5 peaking at 480 according to the Air Quality Index. Any level over 300 is classified as hazardous. By contrast, the smog-hit India capital New Delhi peaked at 228, while Beijing reached only 161. The pollution crisis in Chiang Mai has seen residents, street vendors, and even monks donning surgical face masks, and at least 2 universities have canceled classes. Crop burning during the dry season has long been blamed for poor air quality, but the smog has been exacerbated by growing industrialization and rising numbers of vehicles on the roads. Prayut Chan-o-cha, on a visit to Chiang Mai, demanded a clampdown on crop burning. He said the problem of hotspots or crop burning areas must be solved in 7 days, and that nobody should ignite fires in the forest. Crop burning is normally restricted for 2 months in the dry season to try to curb pollution, but it remains widespread. However, Oliver Evrod, a Thailand-based specialist for the Institute of Research for Development, said crop burning was not the only culprit. Evrard said the government has encouraged the population to buy more vehicles, and coal plants are still running at full speed. A total of 9 provinces are affected by the smog as the northern city of Chiang Rai prepares to host a meeting of regional finance ministers. According to Chaicharn Puthirat, a lung disease specialist at Chiang Mai University's Faculty of Medicine, the seasonal duration of the haze, which used to last for about 3 months, has now increased to 6 months. The long-term effects include an increase in respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, he said, adding that he is skeptical the government has any long-term plan good enough to tackle the problem. Earlier this year, the Thai capital, Bangkok, was also hit by bad smog, which led to schools' closure for 3 days. India's main opposition Congress Party promises to elevate the living standards of millions of farmers and poor as it unveils a populist poll manifesto aimed at blunting Prime Minister Narendra Modi's electoral appeal.
कि हिंदुस्तान के 20% सबसे गरीब परिवारों को हर महीने उनके बैंक अकाउंट में कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार डायरेक्ट पैसा डालेगी। 1 साल में 72,000, 5 साल में 3,60,000। इससे 2 काम होंगे। पहला काम, गरीबों के जेब में पैसा जाएगा, किसानों के जेब में डायरेक्ट पैसा जाएगा, पहली बार। और दूसरा काम, जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने नोटबंदी करके, जीएसटी करके हिंदुस्तान की अर्थव्यवस्था की धज्जियां उड़ा दी हैं, जैम कर दी पूरी अर्थव्यवस्था को, वो अर्थव्यवस्था एक बार फिर जंप स्टार्ट होकर चालू हो जाएगी। Gowda and I gave them 2 instructions. I said this is not to be a manifesto made in closed rooms. I understand that the Congress party has a lot of expertise, but this manifesto should reflect the wishes of the people of India. That was the first point. And the second point I said was, whatever is going to be in this manifesto has to be truthful. I do not want a single thing in this manifesto that is a lie, because we have been hearing large numbers of lies spoken every day by our Prime Minister.
Coming up, millions are without water in Venezuela. Libyan chaos leaves city residents struggling for water. France and Germany say joint UNSC presidency would focus on multilateralism. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will be right back.
Samantha Suarez, and I'm reporting here from Gainesville, Florida. Behind me is the Florida Museum of Natural History, home to a butterfly rainforest featuring hundreds of butterflies from across the world. Do you know another place that has sites from across the world? Well, check out Digital Nest on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. And I am Juan with 25.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave some love by giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe here at ABC Digital Nest so you don't miss any of our upcoming features.
Ako po si Bimbo Cerudo. Lagi po kayong manood ng Young Once Upon a Time Season 2 tuwing linggo, alas 8 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net25.
Know the latest news and information here and abroad. In Aguila, Balita, track the latest happenings in the provinces in Aguila, Provincia. Be aware of important events in Asia, in ASEAN in Focus, and be updated in the biggest news around the world in Eagle News International. Tune into Mata ng Aguila and get the day's headlines and news that are sharp, accurate, and objective. Only here at Net25.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Venezuelans try to find water wherever they can as millions of people are left without running water amid a series of massive blackouts.
Pero ahora no tenemos luz, no tenemos agua, no tenemos carretera, no tenemos comida, no tenemos nada. Porque ninguno de los dos ha venido a comunicarse aquí, ninguno de los dos vienen a ayudar a las comunidades, ninguno de los dos sirve para un carrizo.
Provoca llorar, bueno, de todo te da uno, porque cuando no es comida, ahora bueno, antes era la comida, ahorita hay un poquito de comida que uno puede conseguir, pero ya bueno, es comida, es agua, es luz, es horrible, es transporte, es toda la situación que vivimos en Venezuela es crítica.
Hundreds of blue pipes lay abandoned in Libya's Sintan, leaving residents struggling to get enough water after the 2011 revolution halted their spot on the world's largest irrigation project.
الآبار طبعا في محطة المساعدة طبعا تم تدميرها في 2011 تدمير كامل، ولحد الآن يعني قاعدة مدمرة وخارجة على العمل هي والآبار المحيطة بها. مية النهر لو وصلت مية النهر لمدينة زنتان ما نقدرش نصرفوها نتيجة لخدم الشبكة ورداءة الشبكة وتوسع عمراني ما واكباش تنفيذ شبكات مياه جديدة وحتى الشبكة القديمة يعني غير قادرة على تصريف الكمية.
يعني طالبين بالمساعدة الحكومات ومساعدة حتى الناس الجمعيات الخيرية في جميع أنحاء العالم.
وهذا طبعا سبب مشكلة كبيرة لكل بلديات الجبل، سبب هجرة إلى المدن، خصوصا العنصر البشري اللي بيبني هالمنطقة وبيعمل فيها التنمية ما عندهاش مجال كيف يعيش إذا كان حتى أبسط الأشياء اللي هي المياه غير موجودة. زيد على ذلك كل شيء، الاتصالات، خدمات النظافة.
The French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian and his German counterpart Heiko Maas speak to the media about their co-presidency of the United Nations Security Council, insisting that their efforts will be focused on combating the destruction of multilateralism.
Car ce n'est pas l'institution qui est critiquée, c'est le principe même dont elle procède et qui porte son nom. L'idée que le monde sera mieux régulé, les conflits prévenus, les grands enjeux globaux traités par l'union des nations, par la coopération entre les États. Et face au risque de déconstruction de notre édifice multilatéral, la France et l'Allemagne ont un message à porter ensemble, parce que nos deux pays ont vécu dans leur chair les conséquences du repli sur soi, les conséquences de l'unilatéralisme, de la libération de la parole extrémiste, du choc des nationalismes. C'est donc le sens de l'initiative que nous avons lancée et sur laquelle on s'exprimera demain.
When we come back, in Florida, Tampa streetcar creates an interesting commute. Eagle News Washington, D.C. will return shortly.
Here at the Shoe Museum in Marikina in the Philippines, reminding you to watch Digital News every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And I am 1 for 25.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Sarah Nachman. In these times when helping protect the environment is on people's top things to accomplish, riding public transportation is one of the many ways to conserve energy and avoid air pollution. In Florida, Eagle News correspondent Abby Aragon and Angela Corpus show us how interesting it is to go around the city without having to drive your own personal vehicles. Take a look.
Everyone, in almost every metropolitan city in the U.S., you will find various forms of public transportation, from standard forms like buses or trains to enhanced forms like water taxis or mobility rentals. Every city offers great amenities.
So here in downtown Tampa, we decided to take the historical route and ride the Tico Line streetcar. So let's check it out!
Yes, it's 2019, and one can easily get on their mobile phones and order an Uber or Lyft ride. But if you're ever visiting, why not try and fit in with the locals and tour the city the old-fashioned way? According to the website, Tampa's TECO Line streetcar is the city's oldest form of public transportation. Built and operated in 1885, the streetcar system started off with wood-burning steam engines under the Tampa Street Railway Company. Then, in 1893, the company merged with the Florida Electric Company so that the streetcars would run on electricity. One buyout after another for several years, the Tampa Electric Company finally acquired about 53 miles of street tracks in 1913. The TECO Line streetcar system finally ceased operations after World War II, despite carrying almost over 24 million passengers. However, in 2002, the Heritage Line revived in the streets of Tampa due to special taxes on local businesses. Eventually, the Hillsborough Area Rapid Transit was funded a $2.7 million grant from the Florida Department of Transportation to service the TECO Line streetcar operations, so anyone can ride it for free.
Signing off from Tampa Bay, Florida, I'm Angelo Corpus.
And I'm Abby Aragon.
And we're always one with 25.
Thank you, Abby and Angelo. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.ph and eaglenewsalive.com. Like us on Facebook. Also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. On behalf of Eagle News, Washington, D.C., thank you for watching. I am Sarah Nachman, and I am one with 25.